But right now, instead of me going into the extensive and amazing bios of these women that are here, I want them to each tell us a little bit about themselves and what they do. So please tell us your name and what you do.
So my name is Marlene Sellaway. I am the founder and developer for the Fits by Design fashion and cosmetology industry booking app. I've also managed a Fortune 500 company and successfully brought that company from negative 50,000 to 1.1 million within 2 years.
Can we get a clap to that? I mean, hello?
Hi, my name is Kenya Hill. A few of you guys may know me from America's Next Top Model Cycle 4. And now I am modeling, acting, and I'm also the founder of Find Your Light, which is an interactive modeling workshop where I help models who are aspiring to get into the modeling industry and current models. I help them find their light within in terms of like inner strength and confidence and knowing their own value, as well as find their light on set. So posing techniques from head to toe and helping girls find agencies in their area. And all kinds of stuff just pertaining to helping models, get to where they want to be.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jordan Emanuel. I am Playboy's Playmate of the Year. I'm also Miss Black America New York, and I am one of the co-founders for women's nonprofit Women with Voices. Woo! And my focus in our nonprofit is mental health. That's one of my initiatives, and my other initiative is sexual education and sexual liberation. So self-care is my thing.
I am Eve, and I'm a celebrity makeup artist. I'm the founder of Melange NYC Beauty Services in New York, but we travel all over the world. What started with working with celebrities on TV, we now offer all our services to all you everyday people.
We're happy about that. Very happy.
And very affordable, but we don't get nobody off. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
My name is Sarah. I'm a plus-size model and influencer, and I have dedicated my life to inspiring and empowering others to be kinder to themselves and gentle to their bodies. I recently did a TEDx talk that was released, and it's all about how we can use social media to create a more inclusive standard of beauty. We no longer have to rely on big media houses or brands to tell us what's beautiful. We can create our own content and we can share it with other people, and the power of that. So that's a little bit about me and the work that I do.
Thanks, Sarah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Farrah Lewis. I'm a city council member. I represent neighborhoods in Brooklyn, Flatbush, East Flatbush, Midwood, Flatlands, Canarsie, Marine Park. That's just a little bit of what we encompass. I won my election May 14th of this year. And I have to run again like 4 weeks later, June 25th. And I have to run again November 5th. So I'm considered like a case study for someone that had to run 3 times in 1 year with no political experience. I started a nonprofit organization in 2012 called Girls Leading Up because I wanted to empower young women in their personal and professional development, because I know that I had to struggle when I was coming up. I got a degree in journalism, had to find a job outside of that, and had to figure things out. So I wanted to inspire girls in my community to fight for what they want to be.
Amen. I feel like I'm in church right now. As you can see, now I know you understand why we have these amazing women on this panel, because they really are true examples of beauty inside and out. Not just working on their outer appearance, which is very important, by the way, but also working on being great on the inside and letting that shine and inspiring others, and also taking from other people to inspire themselves, which is just as important as well. So one of the first things I just want to touch on is our regular good old Webster's Dictionary version of what beauty is supposed to be. This is what they say. They say it's a combination of qualities such as shape, color, or form that pleases the aesthetic senses especially the sight. And next, they have a beautiful woman, okay? So that was the definition that we see in Webster. And I just want to find out from some of our panelists what they see beauty as. So would you mind starting?
Sure. Beauty, for me personally, I believe it's about depth. Definitely depth of character. Beauty, aesthetically, as we know, it comes in levels. And I've always noticed that people who are very beautiful and kind on the inside, it seems like when they age better. You ever see some women, it's like the smile lines, and it's something internal that comes out on the outside. And so for me, it's about depth of character.
Okay. Anyone, feel free to jump in.
Well,
I think beauty is confidence. I feel beauty is not about how you look. I mean, yeah, you can enhance your beauty any day, but I think it's about just bringing out your personality, your confidence, showing the true you. That's beauty to me.
It's awesome. I think beauty, when it comes to people, it's definitely confidence, but also before you get to confidence, I think it comes from self-acceptance, regardless of the aesthetics. When you accept your good side and your bad side, and really aim to be better and do better than you were yesterday, then you have the right, I think, to be confident. Not because anybody can be confident, and there's a thin line between confidence and being conceited and feeding your ego. Those are different things. So I think it has a lot to do with self-acceptance.
Yeah. And I'm sure that it takes so much to be able to fight society's view of what beauty is and define that for yourself. I know, Jordan, you talk a lot about mental health, when you go out and speak. And there's so many things, insecurities that we all deal with. And I just want you to speak a little bit concerning the alopecia that you spoke about. When I saw you post that on social media, I said, you know what, that is so amazing for someone, everybody knows, like, Playboy, like, come on now. You're a playmate, it's like, they consider it to be one of the epitomes of what beauty is on the outside. And for a playmate to come out and say, listen, I deal with this, and actually showed exactly what the condition is, I can't imagine what was going through your head. It felt like it was a liberation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I've struggled, for those who don't know, with alopecia for the last 6 years. It's an autoimmune disease, which is usually triggered by stress, but it's also hereditary. And I had one flare-up 6 years ago when I was still in college. It kind of went away after 6 months, never worried about it again until about a year and a half ago. I had done a chemical treatment.
She's like,
Yeah, I had done a chemical treatment, got a perm, but I shouldn't have gotten a perm. And it started as a small little burn. I had something else in my hair that it conflicted, had a chemical reaction, started as a small burn. I was dealing with some things with my grandmother, who was very ill at the time. So it was just exasperated by my emotional stress. Ironically, I was working the most I'd ever worked in modeling, so I'm in front of the camera feeling a little bit self-conscious that literally I have a hole of hair missing. So after about 6 months, it just took out my whole hairline. So about a year ago, I literally didn't have, this was all gone. So I started getting into wigs and just, trying to just mask it. I was starting to do the cortisone shots, which helped a lot, but they're uncomfortable. And I needed to get them every 3 weeks, and I was lazy and wasn't doing that. To the point where it started to just get further and further. And I started doing my shots again. I noticed a lot of growth in the front. A lot of the texture was coming back. So I was feeling good about it.
Were you ever concerned that you would lose your place as this position that you worked so hard to do because people were so superficial, just looking at you on the outside?
Well, ironically, I think I had a fear, and I was projecting that onto my work, so I wasn't going to castings for a very long time. Everything, people were still requesting me, people were still, you know, interested, but I was the one who was like, they're deciding what the decision was going to be, you know what I mean? And for a while I was like, I either want to shave my head and call it a day and not even be a slave to this idea, or I'm just going to be open about it and be like, if you see a patch, that's why.
Yeah.
And finally, you know, it started growing back, but then it fell out again.
Wow.
And so September was Alopecia Awareness Month, and I finally was like, you know what? I'm tired. Let me just post this, because I didn't fill something in. I was like, I'm posting it. And the reaction I got, I wasn't expecting at all. I wasn't aware of how many people suffered from it, men and women. The techniques that people were, I was like, oh my God, I need to start a whole little library of just resources for what people are using, and so I've been a lot more proactive with sharing that.
That's amazing.
I just want to say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no,
You look
please.
absolutely gorgeous with the
Yes.
shirt. Thank you. Like,
Yes.
I'm so
it took
considerate.
a lot for me to cut this off,
Yes.
and then you couldn't pay me to go back to the lace front. So it would work.
That's amazing.
I might just.
And that was a lot. I mean, when something, I know we all have our insecurities that we deal with every single day, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's, you know, a little piece of flesh here, a little hair out of place here, there's not one of us who hasn't experienced something like that. So, I mean, that's a true example of someone being able to show their vulnerability, and it not only strengthening the audience, but it strengthened her as well. So we applaud you for sharing. Thank you for that. And you know, and I love the way we're uplifting each other here. One of the things too, when I hear that, I think about you, Sarah. The plus size modeling industry has broken so many barriers, and it's sad to even say that, because I'm like, plus size models have been like it forever. Like even Marilyn Monroe herself was considered a plus size model. Do you even feel like the term plus size model should even exist? Or do you feel like, you know what, I'm just a model?
Honestly, if there was a time to be a plus size model, it would be right now. So I'm very grateful to be a plus size model today. I feel like the industry is changing. Of course, there's still more work to do, but at least brands are interested, brands are listening. And at the end of the day, human beings come in all different shapes and forms. And what I think is dangerous is aligning the word beautiful with the concept of self-worth. Because people look all different ways. And all of them, we all started good and worthy. And I think that to me, that's like the most dangerous part of the whole beauty and fashion industry, is that we think that the only way for a person to have value on this planet is by being beautiful or aspiring to some kind of standard of beauty. But I think that's a conversation that needs to be changed. You know, we all started good and worthy, and then everything else is just sprinkled, right?
Yeah.
But back to your question. Language, words, I think it's all about, like, we think the word plus size is bad because we've been told that it's bad. I see it as like a reclamation of a word that has been used to kind of like suppress plus size people or to suppress fat people, and kind of like taking that word and being like, it's good, it's fine. Just like you did with your condition. You're like, this is part of my body and this is who I am, and I'm still good and I'm still worthy. And you know, so I think that now is just like a really great time for plus size people in general, and for the industry to become more inclusive in all spectrums, not only with size diversity, but people with you know, people who may be suffering from illnesses, or people who may be in a wheelchair, or whatever it is, because like it's that humanity is so important, and that's what makes life interesting, and that's what makes life beautiful.
You're right, and I know Karen is to that.
I used to model very long time ago, so I'm not as
She's amazing.
She's amazing. But I used to model a very long time ago, and I would say now I kind of change the narrative and the language, and I say size inclusive. And I'm grateful for artists and people that are into merchandising like Brianna. She has Savage Fenty, and she never labels her models plus size. She just throws it out there, and you get to see the beauty of all the models and what they're actually selling.
Yes.
And I think that's very important for us to try to change the narrative. I know that it's very important for you to own who you are and what you are, but I think changing the language also changes the conversation.
I agree.
So they just focus on the actual product.
Yeah, and I love that too. Oh, we can clap. I heard someone clapping. Let's go for it. You know, I love your story about how you started, even just in journalism. Can you tell a little bit about that story about when you started there and that class and knocking on doors and them telling you certain things about your appearance?
So I remember first starting out, I actually graduated from LIU Brooklyn with a dual degree in journalism and English. And I remember every time I would go to an interview, they would always say, you are gorgeous, but you are too dark, or you are too big, or you're not exactly the fit we're looking for. And I remember being super disappointed about it, but then saying, you know what, I gotta keep going. And eventually I did get a job. Hot 97 hired me to do promotion. And I was okay with that because that door opened. I know something else would open later, but my confidence definitely did go low because I was trying to wonder, should I bleach my skin? Should I do particular things to myself in order for me to fit this criteria that everyone was asking for? And I'm happy to say that right now I see women that look just like me on TV. It didn't work at the time, but now that I see that, I'm like, all right, they're moving in the right direction now. Somebody's stepping up and having a conversation. It probably wasn't for me at the time, but I'm happy for the people that are there right now.
That's awesome.
I wanted to add something about the plus size modeling stuff, because that's something that I take really personally. Some of you may have not seen my season or cycle of America's Next Top Model, and I was eliminated because I gained too much weight. And I was maybe about 10 pounds heavier than what I am right now, but I'm 5'11", and so it would look like I would maybe be 5 pounds heavier than I am right now, if you know what I'm saying. And that was when I first started to have insecurities about like the lower area of my stomach and like little muffin top areas, like I couldn't get that part skinny enough. I started to feel really insecure about my thighs not being skinny enough. And then it was also a little bit of a mental hurdle because in the Black community you need to have ass. And so I'm like, well damn. So it was awful. It was really awful for years. And I'm happy now that Instagram has helped change that. Because there are so many girls now who don't need a modeling agency to represent a brand or a company. And so many of these women who are absolutely gorgeous are not a size 2. And it's amazing. You said it beautifully. I mean, we come in so many shapes, sizes, and colors. And what's funny is a lot of these designers are not models themselves. So it's like, don't you know how marketing works? What clothes do you buy? What do the models look like who represent the brands that you wear?
Yes.
We should be, that's how you gravitate to something because of the marketing.
It's true.
So, and now modeling agencies, things are changing. Things are changing. They don't call it plus size anymore. They call it curve, which has a much softer connotation.
Yes.
It sounds
And we like curves.
sexier. We like curves around here, so that's a good thing. And I'm excited for you because it's coming.
The diversity in I know you do so many things when it comes to not just body positivity in that area, but also, like you said, in preparing people for the industry. What are you hearing from the people that are coming to you when it comes to just a positive mindset or outlook on them being able to grow within the industry? Are they seeing that there's room for them at any size?
The thing is, it's not even about them seeing the room for them to grow. They can't get in the door to even see what's going on. It's especially women of color. A lot of my modeling workshops that I've done my modeling workshops, Find Your Light, I've done them in Paris, Hawaii, London, Vegas, and 4 of them have been in Atlanta. And so it's a lot of women of color there, and they are experiencing, even though there's Instagram and all of these great things happening now, they have the same problems I had. I couldn't get signed to a modeling agency for 2 years after America's Next Top Model. I thought I was just gonna go to New York and just every agency just falling at my feet just for the mere fact of being on the show. And I thought Tyra also maybe would make a couple calls, but she gave us the ticket to get through, which was amazing. She changed my life. But when it comes to a lot of these aspiring models, especially the models of color, it's like acting or something. It's like, oh, there's like this myth. It's like who you know. No, there are. You can get in the industry without knowing anybody, but there's not really a template or a blueprint for you to know what to do, how to get a portfolio, how to get what size am I in, what market am I in. It's sad because so many models think that they can do runway, or girls think they can do runway. There are very specific requirements for that. There's real life modeling where you can, for example, if a hotel is opening up a brand new hotel, and they're going to start their advertisements, and you see the advertisements of like the drawings of the building, or just pictures of models like people would be staying at the hotel. That pays a lot of money if they use your face like as a regular looking person, a regular looking person, and you can model until you're older. And there's so many facets of it, and people simply don't know.
How did you come back? There's so many people that fall into this state of depression coming from a place like America's Next Top Model, where everyone sees you and like, oh, that's Kenya! And then it's like, wait, that's Kenya working at Burger King.
Yeah.
That happens a lot these days. No, but people do. We see people on the train, we see people writing, we see people.
No, that's so true.
How did you not fall into a state of depression? What was it?
Well, it was my ambition and my passion was to really be on the cover of Vogue, which is still a passion of mine. So look out for that. But I was so ambitious and was not going to give up or stop for anyone. So that is why I always continued to keep my dream alive and do things. But what I did learn is stuff about people. I'll tell you something about people. People think that just because you've been on TV, you're rich. You're connected, you don't have no problems, it's strange to see people look at you in that way. And also,
You're not human.
Yeah, and I try to remain down to earth and be as real and be as humble as possible. And so when I behave the way that I do, in a humble manner, and I see people treat me a certain way because I've been on TV, or maybe because they think I can get them somewhere or something, it's a little heartbreaking. So that there was no depression. The depression part was not where I was. It was seeing how people view me.
Yes, it was more of a realization.
A realization of where people
of the views
of that.
That makes sense. And as we speak, you were speaking a little bit about Instagram now, and technology has definitely changed the face of everything that we do now. I mean, I share so many things with you. Me, myself, as a digital marketer, I see how if you just have the correct mindset on exactly what you need to key into, you can literally pull a whole crowd into what you're doing and capitalize off of that. That's why I'm so amazed by your app. So, please, can you explain to everybody exactly what your app does?
Okay. So basically, I came about the app because I'm a self-taught swimmer. And I would go to work, I was working in a call center, and I was literally at the back, so that was like my runway, right? So I'd sell something for the day or whatever, and then I'd sashay down the runway. Well, a lot of my coworkers would be like, oh my God, where did you get that? It's like, I sold it. No, you didn't, so I had to show them the unfinished, thing on the inside. It's like, you have to make this for me, you have to make this for me. And so after getting all these little sticky notes and these threads, it's like, it's not a game, I'm not playing, I actually kind of considered the logistics of it, and it got kind of complicated because it was like, okay, I'm 10 miles away, by the time, I fit you, we have to go to the fabric store and, then I have to sew it and I really don't know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna have to correct it. And so it's like, it's just gonna be too costly. What I realized is that what those women truly wanted was the expressive and creative freedom that I had. Because what I wanted wasn't based off of someone else's look or someone else's design or idea of me. It was me literally pouring from myself and saying, this is how I want to express myself. So I said, they want the creative freedom. So I thought over it and I said, wait, what about, and my cousin is literally a graduate of Brooks College, so she talks to me about some of the issues that she had as a designer. She went to school for it, but she could never make money doing it because she couldn't get the, clientele. People would nickel and dime her at home, or worse, she'd get a big order like 25 choir robes, and then it takes her 3 months because she's working a full-time job. So it was like she would always tell me like, I have to work a job, I can't, do what I'm doing. So I knew about that issue too. So I said, what if I were to create something sort of like a hair salon, and I put fashion designers, graduates, and then pair them with people, because they still have the creative freedom, they just don't know how to do it. So I pair them with the people, and then I put fabric on the other side of it, right? So this was my aha moment, and I was like, I'm doing this, yes. So I'm quitting my job, and this was in 2004, and I remember I went to the bank to get a loan. It's a pre-loan application. They're like, do you have any experience? No. Do you have any education? No. No. So I was like, okay, so I have a good idea. That's about it, right? And I'm not qualified to do this. And I didn't even bet on myself. I could just see equity out of my house, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be homeless. So I said, I'll go to school, and once I finish school, this is still a good idea, I'll pursue it. Long story short, graduated, life took its course, wound up managing, and I said, you know what? I think I can do this myself. So then in 2016, I pivoted to an app. And so I was like, yeah, I think this would be better nationwide as an app. I know how to do apps. So I had to figure out how to do an app. So started that journey. And so the app basically mirrors the same brick and mortar concept. So it's for fashion industry graduates of all walks, and there are resources on the app. You can make custom fabric right from your phone. You can take a picture of you, all of you guys, right? Upload it and make fabric, and make your own fabric. Literally, it's like a $5 minimum. Purchase anything. You can draw it. You can do anything else. And so I wanted it also, because I'm kind of living vicariously through these people. I didn't have the balls to go to school for it. So it's a resource. It's scholarships for fashion industry. All the terms, definitions, is glossary. So everything you're a fashion student you would absolutely need. If you're an enthusiast, there's a directory I built, most comprehensive of all the fashion industry programs in the United States. The prerequisites, everything is required for the contact information. I did this myself, it took like 3 weeks. Built that out. So it's full of resources. There's for sewing enthusiasts, there's a social media component. So there's all of this for you that's there. And you can find the fashion designer, which I'm loading people in now, right? You can send them a request. You can send them 3 images of what you want, right directly to them. There's no middleman. There's no popularity algorithm. So it's literally by distance. And you're going to see who's closest to you. It's exclusive, only 25 designers per state, because I want them to be seen so they can get booked. And it's only $10 a month, right? No contract or
Tell us
anything.
the name again.
Oh, it's Fits by Design, and it's on every platform, Apple, Android, BlackBerry, dead BlackBerry. Yes, we're on BlackBerry, Windows, and what's the other one? No, Amazon. Yeah, Kindle. So it's on all, well, Google's Chrome, yeah, so it's on all of those. And and then I just loaded it up with cosmetology. So we're doing the same exact situation for cosmetology.
Let's get back into that. So as we do this, we're going to have just a brief segment coming up in just a moment where we'll wrap this up and start our question and answer. But before our councilwoman has to go, I would like to know if anyone has any questions directed to her before she leaves. Yes, sir.
Okay. As a model and as a person of politics, is there a connection, like we have actors who become a president, we have like a lot of people from movie industry coming to politics. Is there a future for girls who have models, has a meeting, a model, a role model or model in that sense? Like, is there a future in politics and what's the connection?
Of course, I believe models, anyone who has a voice and a platform to have the conversation and make a change should definitely get into politics. I mean, I was listening to both of you speak. There's an opportunity for everyone to get into politics and to make a change, changing the conversation and the narrative for our generations to come. So, and I believe that was the position I was in. I wanted to become a journalist. I dibbled and dabbled, didn't really get on TV, but then God made a way and now I'm a councilwoman. I'm on TV all the time, having a conversation all the time, but bringing the experts in to have a larger conversation about how do we need to make a change in this community for this particular thing. So there's a space for everyone.
That's amazing.
So I wanted to ask, because growing up, obviously I'm dark skinned as well. I had the same issues where people be like, you're too dark, and my mom is light. So it's like, you're not pretty enough. And my mom would instill in me, when people would say, oh, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl, like that's not a compliment. It's like saying you're pretty for a dog. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So how did you feel, because I know how I felt, when the tables turned? I think it was the Peaches and Cream video from 112. With that one dark-skinned model that took over the industry, you remember that? And they started booking her everywhere, and then you see people like tanning and all that. How did you feel, especially with thinking that maybe I should bleach? How did you feel when you noticed that the whole earth kind of just shifted towards, you know, the acceptance and the celebration of melanin power?
I mean, it was very empowering. It was after I actually there was a woman that was on a music video. I know it was with Pharrell. There was a dark
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
It was Laura London and another girl. And I think I bumped into her and I was like, how did you do it? Like, and she was like, I kept going. I kept pushing and I kept going. And it was like at that moment I was like, okay, I gotta keep trying. If she could do it, then I can do it. And then I would meet other women in other industries who would say the same thing. They couldn't like get in the door because they were too dark. The pivotal moment was having those conversations with those people to ask them how did they do it, and taking a little bit from each person and building my own plan on how to get to the next step. Because it does break down your spirit and your soul. You feel like, all right, then I have no hope. I should have went to nursing school. I should have did something else. But you know what your passion, you know what burns inside of you. And it's about creating a strategy in your head and sticking to it.
Yes, that's amazing. Can we give the councilwoman We are actually going to switch out with another wonderful woman, Miss Angela Jordan. Wendy?